welcome back to my mom life. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Jordan, and today I'm showing you how to make a super easy but delicious chocolate cake. Let's get started. This recipe is super simple to make, and it's absolutely homemade from scratch, 100%. I have a homemade chocolate cake and then a homemade chocolate frosting recipe. So let's get right into it. Here are the ingredients you need to make the cake part of this chocolate cake. So I have some flour, white sugar, salt, baking powder, baking soda, cocoa, it's unsweetened cocoa powder, 2 eggs, some whole milk, some oil, and some vanilla. I will have the recipe, ingredients, measurements, and all of that written out for you in the description box, so check down below if you want to see the recipe written out. Let's go ahead and throw our chocolate cake in the oven. I have it preheating to 350 degrees, so this is really easy to whip up. You just need 1 bowl, so I'm going to grab that and point the camera down, and we're going to make this chocolate cake. I'm going to start with my dry ingredients, so I need 2 cups of flour, and it's just regular all-purpose flour. And then we need 2 cups of sugar. Three-quarters of a cup of unsweetened cocoa powder. One and a half teaspoons of baking soda. We need 2 teaspoons of baking powder. One teaspoon of salt. And then that is it for our dry ingredients. So I'm going to go ahead and whisk those together. We also need 1 cup of boiling water that I forgot to mention earlier when I was showing you all of our ingredients. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that water boiling, and then we will add in our other ingredients. All right, while my water is coming to a boil, I'm gonna go ahead and add in the 1 cup of milk, half a cup of oil. You can hear my kettle in the background, it's quite loud, sorry. I'm gonna add in our 2 eggs. And then lastly, you need 2 teaspoons of vanilla. I'm gonna give this a whisk, and then once that water has come to a boil, we will add that in. My water is hot. I'm going to go ahead and add in 1 cup. All right, now that that is all combined, I'm gonna go ahead and divide it in between my pans. I have 2 cake pans here that I have lined the bottom with some parchment paper and then sprayed really good with some baking spray, some baking non-stick cooking spray. And I am just going to do my best to evenly divide this in between my 2 cake pans. I like to, before I pop them in the oven, kind of tap them on my counter like that, just to bring up any air bubbles. These are gonna bake in a 350-degree oven for 30 to 35 minutes. All right, my cakes are done cooking. They are out of the oven and cooling. So You know that they are done when you insert a toothpick and it comes out clean. So I did that and they are both done. So I'm gonna let these cool, and then once they are cooled off, we will take them out of the pan and I will whip up some frosting, and I'll show you how to do that here in just a little bit. For the frosting, you're gonna need 2 sticks of butter, some salt, vanilla, powdered sugar. You'll also need some half and half or cream or milk, and some unsweetened cocoa powder, just like we used for the cake. To get started, I'm going to put my softened butter in my stand mixer. You could do this in a bowl with a hand mixer if you want. One of my sticks of butter got a little too soft. I set it on the stove as my oven was preheating to make the cake, and it got a little too melted, but that's okay, it's totally fine. So I'm gonna add in the butter to my bowl, and then I'm gonna beat this butter for a couple of minutes until it is nice and smooth and creamy. Now that my butter has been beating for a couple of minutes, I'm gonna go ahead and add in the powdered sugar, half of the powdered sugar at a time. So the first half I will add in, I will let that mix and fully incorporate into the butter, and then we'll add in the other half. I will have measurements for you down below like I always do. Now that we have the first half mixed in, I will add in the rest of the powdered sugar. Once all of the powdered sugar is mixed into the butter, we will add in our cocoa powder. It's gonna start to look a little dry and crumbly, and that's okay. You want to add the milk or cream in last, so don't worry about it. Make sure you turn your mixer on low, otherwise you will have a cloud of cocoa powder cover your whole kitchen. Trust me, I know this for a fact. So I'm gonna go ahead and add in our cocoa powder and let that mix until it is fully combined with the butter and powdered sugar. Now I'm gonna add in a pinch of salt. I always like to add in a little tiny bit of salt into frosting. I think that it cuts the sweetness and it just enhances the flavor. And then I added in the vanilla off camera, and I'm gonna go ahead and add in our half and half now. You wanna add in half of what you think that you need, just because you can always add more liquid, but if you add too much, then you have to add more sugar, and it's just a process that you have to go through. So add half of the liquid that you think you need, and then you can always add more. I'm gonna beat this frosting for about 4 to 5 minutes until it is nice and creamy, and then I will go ahead and start frosting our cake. Okay, now that our frosting is ready, we are going to frost our cake. My cakes are completely cooled. This is what I'm going to serve my cake on. So I went ahead and put one layer down here, and then I'm gonna take some of my frosting, and I just have this offset spatula. Use what you have. This is just what I like to use. All right, and then I'm gonna place my second top layer down on top of this one. I like to put the side that baked, so like the bottom of the cake pan, I like to flip it up and that be my top because it is completely flat and level. So I'm gonna put that on there, and then we will start icing the rest of the cake. Thank you so much for watching my video today. If you liked it, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you are new here, I would love for you to subscribe and stick around. And I'll see you on my next one. Bye, guys.